Ashley, what can you tell us about this fire and all the smoke it's causing?
Right, we're starting to see a lot of this smoke lift up into the air. Let's take a look at this map right now. So this is burning in the Mount Hood National Forest, and no, it's not near any developments, any people, but it certainly is pushing out a lot of smoke. And so again, anytime you see that purple on the map, that's definitely something you don't want to see. So let's move forward a little bit in this smoke forecast, and you can just see how it starts to really billow out. So this is Sunday morning, so this is in just, a couple hours or so, and we can really see how this pushes all the way out east into the Dalles. So the winds right now taking everything to the eastern side of the state. So the metro area not seeing quite as much as we could. We're in a good position to kind of miss a lot of this smoke, but that doesn't mean we don't have any. Obviously, if you've looked outside lately, you can definitely see that haze, and we're still seeing some smoke from eastern Washington, from Canada, from fires that are blowing smoke up from the southern part of our state. So lots of fires burning right now in Oregon. Let's move forward again in this futurecast. You can see tomorrow afternoon, probably the best it's going to be before we kind of zoom out here and see just how far this smoke is moving. And so again, we have several fires burning in Oregon right now, bringing down the air quality. Definitely if you're in Bend, and then again if you're in Eugene here in the next couple of days, you're definitely going to see some pretty significant impacts. You're going to want to pay attention to those air quality alerts. But again, we are tracking that Camp Creek fire up here, and that's just east of Portland, just east of Sandy, and we're going to continue to see some of that smoke lift out and east. But for now, we'll talk more about that and some rain that's coming in the forecast after these news stories. Tim?
All right, that would be good news for sure. Thanks, Ashley. Well, teachers and students are preparing to return to school all across our area. In fact, one district in Southwest Washington is scheduled to start classes Monday. But that's up in the air. Bargaining is going on in the Camas school district as teachers aim for a new contract. But they say they are prepared to strike Monday when school is supposed to begin if a deal isn't reached. Thomas Schultz has more.
A quiet playground could remain silent for a little while longer. Negotiators continue to work toward a deal between teachers and administrators in the Camas school district. Educators say they're prepared to strike if a deal isn't reached, but hope it doesn't come to that.
We want to get this done, and we want to get this done soon.
Michael Sanchez says the biggest holdup in negotiations are wages. Teachers are seeking close to a 9% raise. Camas Superintendent John Anzalone says he agrees teachers deserve higher wages.
I want to make sure that our teachers are compensated well, they feel valued, because I always say happy teachers, happy kids.
But he says student learning will suffer if kids are not in school.
Kids need to be in school. We're coming off of a pandemic still. We can't have kids not learning, and every single day counts. Every single minute counts.
The school district has said that if there is a strike, missed school days will be made up. But some parents are concerned their students' education could suffer from more missed time.
A little frustrated with the fact that they might not be going to school right away, especially with the 1 year that we had where they weren't in school.
Brian Griffith said he'd like to see teachers get the raises they're looking for, but he also has kids who have suffered from past remote learning. He wants them back in school as soon as possible.
The kids are already behind. I know, I've got 4 of them.
While wages are being negotiated, it's not the only issue. Sanchez says educators also want to see equitable funding for music and PE classes as well as campus libraries. He says funding for those programs is currently up to principals, which can lead to wide fluctuations in funding for programs across the district.
So, for example, one building, elementary music, might get $0. Another one might get a pretty substantial amount.
But regardless of the issue, here, parents hope when the first bell rings, students will be in their seats and teachers in their classrooms, too. In Camas, Thomas Schultz, KGW News.
Now, teachers in the Evergreen School District are also threatening to strike. They're supposed to begin school on Wednesday. Well, in developing news, one person has died following a shooting in southeast Portland. This happened a few minutes before 4 this morning on southeast 188th Avenue along East Burnside. Portland police say when they arrived, they found one person dead at the scene. No word if any suspect or suspects have been arrested, but detectives don't believe there's any danger to the public. The Clark County Sheriff's Office needs your help keeping an eye out for thieves who attacked an ATM repair person. This happened at the Bank of America on Highway 99 in Vancouver Thursday. Deputies say the ATM was being serviced when two men pulled up in that white Kia sedan without a license plate. One pushed the technician to the ground and grabbed money from the ATM, while the other served as a getaway driver. Investigators are still trying to ID those suspects. Well, in national news, the man named the most popular game show host of all time has died. Bob Barker passed away at the age of 99. Chris Clackham takes a look at Barker's life and times that many Americans are already familiar with.
They love that 355 bid.
Gracing American television screens for more than 5 decades, Bob Barker hosted not only the highest-rated daytime game show in history, but The Price is Right is also the longest-running game show ever. Born in rural Washington State in 1923, Barker's passion for broadcasting soon followed, even after a stint in the Navy during World War II. First in radio, then on to California and television. He hosted The Bob Barker Show until 1956, when NBC hired him to host the iconic Truth or Consequences. His days as a daytime television mainstay with The Price is Right began in 1972.
Well, the thing I hear is, Bob, come on down. I hear it every place I go.
Don't you think Jamie would look good in that?
Barker's popularity on The Price is Right opened other hosting opportunities, including the Miss USA and Miss Universe pageants, events he hosted every year from 1966 to 1988. But that came to an end when Barker, a devout animal rights activist, pressed organizers of the pageants to remove fur coats from prize packages. But they refused. In 1996, Barker gained a whole new audience when he appeared in the Adam Sandler comedy Happy Gilmore. That left audiences howling. His life was not always filled with game show fun, though. His wife of 36 years died of cancer in 1981, and in 1994, Barker was sued for sexual harassment by a female co-worker on The Price is Right. Although Barker maintained his relationship was consensual, the scandal hurt Barker's family values image. In 1996, Barker won an Emmy Award for Lifetime Achievement. 10 years later, he would sign off for the last time on The Price is Right after a 35-year run. Chris Clackham, NBC News.
And now to some heartbreaking news here locally tonight. Longtime Portland journalist and television news icon Mike Donahue has died. Donahue was an anchor and reporter at Coin TV for more than 4 decades. He retired from TV news in 2012, but stayed active in the community, often posting about the love he has for his family and, quite fittingly, for roses as well. You see a picture of Mike with some of his prized roses there. Those of us who worked with Mike during our careers, and I count myself fortunate to be one of them, will tell you his integrity was surpassed only by his kindness. Just such a wonderful man. Coin shared Friday evening that Donahue died of pancreatic cancer and was with his family to the end. Mike Donahue was 77 years old. Well, switching gears now to a local historical society getting ready for an important celebration in September. The Oregon Black Pioneers are celebrating 3 decades of providing learning lessons to the public. Here's KGW's China Green.
We believe that you can't really know the history of Oregon without also knowing the Black history of Oregon.
The Oregon Black Pioneers, Oregon's only African-American historical society.
We work to share the experiences of people of African descent from the earliest days that we have evidence of right up to the turn of the last century.
Executive Director Zachary Stock says the society is dedicated to preserving and presenting the experiences of African Americans statewide.
It's a shared heritage that we all get to enjoy and be proud of, and I think that that's something that, regardless of what your race may be, you should take an interest in.
Allow us to introduce ourselves.
Based in Salem, Oregon, they preserve history by exhibitions, public programs, consultation research, and other special events. And speaking of special events,
the theme of the event is shining a light on Oregon's Black history.
September 17th is a big day as the organization marks its 30-year anniversary with a fundraising celebration.
So that evening is going to be an opportunity to gather with our community members for the first time since 2019, find out how we're doing, share some of the great program work that we've done since then, and also showcase our traveling exhibits.
Among the history on display that night, Oregon City Mayor Denise McGriff, Oregon's first black woman ever elected as a mayor of an Oregon town, will be the keynote speaker. The evening will be filled with music, dancing, and of course food, all in the name of celebrating history and continuing the future for the Oregon Black pioneers.
Trying to elevate those lesser told stories of some of the people and moments that have made up the Black Oregonian experience.
More details on how to secure a ticket can be found on our website, kgw.com. China Green, KGW News.
Lesser told stories, but so important to hear. All right, here's a Rose City Skycam look for you, and a heads up on a traffic alert tomorrow morning. The Hawthorne Bridge is going to be closed for maintenance through the day, Sunday from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening. That's for vehicles, cyclists, and pedestrians across the board. Crews will be greasing the counterweight cables. By the way, all the other bridges will remain open, so you've got options. And tonight, hundreds of runners cross the finish line for Hood to Coast, also known as the mother of all relays. Alma McCartney spoke with one man who has battled homelessness and addiction, and he says the race is a chance for him to transform his life. Take a look.
I was couch surfing and homeless for probably 3 years, 3 to 5 years,
He did not expect to be running with a purpose or for a cause.
What really brought me to my bottom was realizing my need for community, finding myself isolated and alone.
But now, Chad Seeley couldn't imagine a better way to get the word out during the nearly 200-mile relay race.
I have a purpose and to share the message that it's possible to recover and to have long-term life transformation. It's been a hard road, but it's a good road, and like the physical part of it is just a step in the direction of a new life.
He's one of 12 runners on the Portland Rescue Mission team.
We've been planning for this team for over a year now, and we're just excited to run.
Team captain Allison Paris says they had a team last year, but it was just a trial run.
Then this year we thought we'd seen other organizations make it a fundraiser, and we thought, why not get the word out through Hood to Coast about what we do and share stories of hope and how people's lives have been transformed.
For Hood to Coast 2023, they're doing just that, hoping to raise $20,000 to provide food, shelter, and care to thousands struggling with homelessness and addiction in Portland.
I went through the program, so I understand what the program has to offer. And so now being able to run for that purpose and to help others experience that is something that just really is dear to my heart.
Terrific. Well, Portland Rescue Mission staff, volunteers, board members, and recovery program grads like Chad make up this year's team. You can find more information on how to give at portlandrescuemission.org. Great organization. And a big shout out to our KGW family. Our team took part in the big race. We have some footage of them crossing the finish line today to Hood to Coast out there at Seaside. Way to go, guys. Congratulations. We're definitely very proud of you all, for sure.